Right now, your brain is deleting this moment, not later, not while you sleep. Right now, as you watch this, your mind is already deciding what stays and what disappears forever. By tomorrow morning, you will have forgotten roughly 80% of everything that happened today. The conversations, the thoughts you had walking from one room to another, the face of the person who held the door open for you, gone. And the worst part is, your brain isn't malfunctioning. It's working exactly as designed. Most people assume memory is the default. That experiences go in, get stored, and stay there unless something goes wrong. A head injury, a disease, old age. We treat forgetting as the exception, the failure, the thing that happens when memory breaks down. But that's not quite right. Forgetting is not what happens when memory fails. Forgetting is what memory is for. And the science of why your brain works this way reveals something deeply uncomfortable about what your mind actually thinks your life is worth holding on to. Let's start in 1885. A German psychologist named Hermann Ebbinghaus sat alone in a room and did something no scientist had ever attempted. He decided to study his own memory. Specifically, he wanted to know how fast the human mind forgets. So he spent months memorizing thousands of meaningless syllable combinations. Strings of letters with no associations, no emotion, no context. Just raw data. He memorized them, waited, then tested himself. Waited longer, tested again. He did this hundreds of times and plotted every result on a graph. What he drew is now called the forgetting curve. And it is one of the most quietly devastating things in all of science. Within 1 hour of learning something new, the average person has already forgotten more than 50% of it. Within 24 hours, that number climbs to 70%. Within a week, roughly 90% is gone. Ebbinghaus found that forgetting doesn't happen gradually and evenly. It happens in a steep, brutal drop immediately after learning. Then levels off into a slow fade. The first hour is the most dangerous. Most of what you will ever forget, you forget almost immediately. And in the 140 years since Ebbinghaus drew that curve, nothing fundamental has changed. But here's what's fascinating. When researchers in the 20th century went looking for why the curve exists, why the human brain would be designed to delete most of what it experiences, they found something that completely reframed the question. Memory was never designed to record your life. It was designed to predict it. In the 1980s, cognitive psychologist Endel Tolving at the University of Toronto proposed a distinction that changed how scientists thought about memory entirely. He separated what he called episodic memory, the personal experiences you can replay, from semantic memory, the general knowledge and patterns you extract from those experiences. And he argued that the brain treats these two systems very differently. Episodic memories are expensive. They require enormous neural resources to encode, maintain, and retrieve. Your brain holds a raw experience, a conversation, a meal, a Tuesday afternoon, in full detail for a brief window. Then it makes a decision. Is the specific detail of this experience worth the cost of keeping it? Or is the pattern it represents enough? Most of the time, the pattern is enough. You don't need to remember every meal you have ever eaten. You need to remember that you get hungry, what foods are safe, what your body needs. The individual episodes, Tuesday's lunch, the sandwich you ate 3 weeks ago, the coffee that was slightly too hot, those can go. The knowledge they contributed stays, quietly absorbed into the structure of how you understand the world. Your brain is not a camera. It is an editor, and it is cutting your life down to its essence in real time. But understanding that forgetting is functional doesn't make it feel less like loss. Because here's the part nobody talks about. The forgetting curve doesn't just apply to syllables in a German laboratory. It applies to everything. It applies to the last real conversation you had with someone you love. It applies to the version of yourself that existed this morning. It applies to this moment, right now, as you watch this. By tomorrow, most of this will be gone. In 2010, neuroscientist Karim Nader at McGill University published research that made the problem even stranger. He had spent years studying memory reconsolidation. What happens when you retrieve a memory? And what he found shook the field. Every time you remember something, you change it. Memory is not a filing cabinet where experiences are stored and retrieved intact. Every time you access a memory, it becomes temporarily unstable. Your brain essentially reopens the file, and in the process of reading it, rewrites it slightly. Details shift, emotions intensify or fade. The context bleeds in from your present state. Then the memory is stored again, not as it was, but as it is now after being touched by the person you've become since it was first formed. This means the memories you have held longest are the ones that have been changed the most. The clearest memory you have of your childhood, the one you'd swear you could still smell and feel and see, has been retrieved and rewritten dozens of times. Each retrieval left fingerprints. What you remember is not what happened. It is the last version of what happened, edited by every year that came after it. Think about that for a second. The people you remember, the moments you return to, the experiences that feel most permanent and real. All of them are reconstructions. All of them have been quietly altered by the person doing the remembering. And here's what this means practically. The moments that survive, the ones that make it past the forgetting curve, the ones that get retrieved and strengthened rather than faded and lost. The most important moments of your life. They are the most emotional ones, the most surprising ones, the ones that connected to something you already cared about. Neuroscientist James McGaugh at the University of California, Irvine, spent decades studying what he called memory consolidation, the process by which experiences move from short-term to long-term storage. He found that the single strongest predictor of whether a memory survives is emotional intensity at the moment of encoding. The brain uses emotion as a signal. High emotion means high relevance. High relevance means keep it. Low emotion, even if the moment was objectively significant, and the brain files it under dispensable. This is why you remember exactly where you were when something devastating happened. And you cannot remember what you ate for breakfast 4 days ago, even though you definitely ate it, and it definitely kept you alive. Your brain is not recording your life in order of importance. It is recording it in order of feeling, which raises an uncomfortable question. If the version of yourself that walked through this morning is already halfway gone, what does that mean for the moments you are not paying attention to? What are you losing right now that you don't even know you're losing? There is a concept in cognitive psychology called attentional encoding. The idea is simple, but its implications are not. You can only form a strong memory of something you were actually present for. Not physically present, mentally present. Attention is the gate that memory has to pass through. Without attention, the signal never reaches the hippocampus at full strength. Without full strength encoding, the forgetting curve takes everything. This means that the hours you spend half present watching something while thinking about something else, moving through conversations while composing other thoughts in your head, sitting somewhere while being mentally elsewhere, those hours are not just unenjoyable. They are unlivable. They leave almost no trace. They are experienced and immediately deleted as if they never happened at all. You have lived entire afternoons that exist nowhere. Not in photographs, not in stories you tell, not even in the faint outlines that most memories leave behind. Just blank. Hours of your life that your own brain decided were not worth keeping. For 140 years, we have known about the forgetting curve. We have known that memory is reconstructive, not reproductive. We have known that emotion is the gatekeeper and attention is the door. And still, most of us move through our days as if memory is automatic. As if living through something is the same as remembering it. It is not. Your brain is making decisions about your life every single second, deciding what stays, deciding what goes, deciding which version of you gets preserved and which gets quietly erased. And it is doing all of this without asking you. The moments that will survive from today are already being selected, the ones with weight, the ones with feeling, the ones you were actually inside of rather than passing through. Everything else is already leaving, and by the time you wake up tomorrow, most of today will be gone. Not because something went wrong, because this is what it means to be human. To live inside a mind that is constantly choosing what of your life is worth keeping. The question is whether you are choosing to.